Chapter 4. Mend My Broken Heart. The very first tear he made was so deep that I thought it had gone right into my heart. By C.S. Lewis, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Can a mother forget her infant? Be without tenderness for the child of her womb? Even should she forgot, I will never forget you. See upon the palms of my hands I have engraved you. Your walls are ever before me. Isaiah 49:15 to 16. All children want to know where they came from. They want to know their story. I was no different. Around the age of 7, I became very interested in the baby pictures of me that my mom had pasted into a huge scrapbook chronicling our life as a family. There were pictures of my parents' first house, fishing and skiing trips, and even one of my brother trying himself to the seesaw in the backyard. I spent many hours looking at all these pictures, and after a while I noticed something was missing. One day, when my parents and I were riding in the car on a road trip, I took advantage of the long journey to finally ask my mom the question that had been troubling me. Mom, I asked, how come there aren't any pictures of you pregnant with me? There was a long silence between my parents. The answer my mom eventually gave me changed my entire life and my view of the world. Honey, she began in a gentle, delicate voice, your dad and I wanted to have children very much, but we could not. So we contacted a group of people who help parents adopt children. Your birth mother and birth father were very young when they had you. They loved you very much and wanted to keep you, but they knew they were too young. They wanted what was best for you, so they gave you up for adoption, and we got to adopt you. It's hard to put into words exactly what went on in my heart as a little girl at that moment. How do you comprehend that your origin and entire existence are different from what you thought? Out of fear that people would treat me differently, my parents urged me to keep the story of my adoption to myself. Part of my heart went numb that day. The truth felt like a big, dark secret that needed to be contained and hidden. Who was I anyway? I have thought about that moment many times since becoming an adult. My mother and I have had several discussions about that conversation in the car, about my story, and about my origins. I have often wondered if God knew what He was doing on that day when two 17-year-old kids came together and then apart after conceiving me. What did He think of the turmoil that surely ensued when my birth mother realized she was pregnant? Abortion was legal in America at that time. Did that option play upon her mind? What does that say about me? The question of who I really am is one that only human beings can have, and it goes far beyond this earth to touch the face of eternity. The truth is that I am not an unplanned pregnancy. I am a human being. From God's perspective, there is no such thing as an unplanned pregnancy. No one is a mistake or an accident to God. It took a very long time and much prayer, counseling, and healing for this truth to permeate my heart and my mind. I thought for years that since my biological parents most likely did not intend to conceive me and did not want to raise me, I was not meant to be here on earth. It was very easy to feel like a product of an unintended circumstance rather than the intentional creation of divine destiny. The deep pain of having rejected my biological parents etched a noticeable scar on my life. Due to this wound of abandonment, I struggled with feeling precious or delighted in by the loved ones around me. Why would God allow something like this to happen? The fullness of the situation is a mystery. This side of heaven, God honors the biological nature He has given to humanity. He blesses the union of man and woman, even if they are unaware of the consequences of that union. From the very beginning of creation, God reveals His delight in life. In the Garden of Eden, His first command is one of the blessing and goodness. God blessed Adam and Eve, and God said to them, "Be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and all the living things that crawl on the earth." Genesis 1:28. God has no evil or ill desires toward us. He wishes us to be fruitful, happy, and strong. But something went horribly awry. You and I know that the world we live in is very broken. It was broken in the past and it is broken now. We see countries at war, marriages dissolving, and bitter hatred within families and nations. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention states that despite the prevalence of sex education by government organizations and an increased use in contraception, young people aged 15 to 24 still acquire half of all the new cases of sexually transmitted diseases every year. Since the legalization of abortion by Roe versus Wade in 1973, Americans have legally aborted more than 55 million children. Drug use is rampant in our country, and the rise of atheistic and socialist movements among Americans is troubling. We can look out into the world and into our own families and even into our own hearts and see brokenness and sorrow. When we experience it, we cry out for a better world. You and I weren't made for sin and sorrow because from the beginning it was not so. We don't have time to sketch out the entire fall of man here, but we do have to understand that humanity was created in and for complete goodness and love, but then chose another path. Sometimes people make jokes about Eve eating an apple or seem to think that sin, translated from a Greek archery term that literally means to miss the mark, is something medieval and that we, as a race, have quote unquote progressed beyond such archaic thinking. Nothing could be nothing could be further from the truth. We encounter sin all around us every day. As Catholics, we call the fundamental rupture between Adam and Eve and God original sin. Pope John Paul II gives one of the best and most concise explanations of original sin in his popular book, Crossing the Threshold of Hope. This is truly the key for interpreting reality. Original sin attempts then to abolish fatherhood. In its essence, original sin attacks the very fatherhood of God. In the third chapter of the book of Genesis, we find the story of Satan encountering Eve and saying something along the lines of, "You think God is really your loving father? You think he truly loves you and wants what is best for you? He doesn't. He wants to dominate you and keep you subservient and powerless. If you want freedom, and if you want to be happy, you had better reach out and take what God has forbidden because you won't find freedom and happiness any other way."